Hello and welcome to the InFocus series of Drishti IAS. I am Ritu and today's session is about Budget 2024 and what it has for defense sector. As you already know that the world is involved into various geopolitical conflicts, geopolitical tension. In this environment, every country is trying to increase their expenditure on defense. So as India had also tried to increase its expenditure on defense, and in this budget we have seen that there was a huge amount of money which is dedicated to the budget and defense. So moving towards the points of discussion. First of all, we are going to discuss the news, then we are going to discuss what do we know about India's defense spending, then we are going to discuss how does it measure up against the China, and after that we are going to discuss practice question for prelims. Before that, you have to like, share and subscribe to the Drishti IAS channel. Moving towards the news part. So you already know that on 23rd of July, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has presented budget in the Indian Parliament, and after that there are lots of discussion for every sector, and even ministers are also discussing that which ministry has got how much of amount. So the budget is in the news, and it's very important to have a discussion on defense because that is related to the internal security and also to the external security. And today we are living in the world where so much war is going on. And in this situation, it's very important for a country to be independent in terms of war, in terms of equipments, in terms of any gadgets which are required in any kind of unforeseen circumstances. So this news we are going to cover up in today's session. So as you already know that the center has allocated rupees 6.21 lakh crore, approximately $75 billion for defense sector in the country, and this has been up. Last year we have $72.6 billion, but this time we are up by $75 billion. So this is about the defense sector budget, and this amount has been allocated to the defense sector. And if we'll talk about the other countries, especially the China, then China has also increased its expenditure on defense. And why we are discussing the China's defense policy and China's defense budget, because we often see that we had so much of scuffle between India and China at the borders, and we had seen the Galwan and so many things. So it's very important to have a discussion on China's budget expenditure so that we'll be prepared that in any kind of circumstances we should have that kind of equipments that we can combat any kind of critical circumstances in our country. So we'll come to the overview that what is the defense spending and what was the overview of the budget. So India is spending 12.9%. So this is very crucial thing, and it can be asked in your examination, especially in your state PCS examination. So you must remember this data that India is spending 12.9% of its total budget for the financial year 2024 and 5 for the defense sector. So if we'll talk about the percentage wise, it is 12.9%, and the capital outlay has been pegged at 1,72,000 crore. And if we'll talk about that, how much percentage it has increased from the last year, so it has increased by 4.79%. This is also very much important for your exam. India has earmarked nearly a 1/3 of its budget, which is 27.67% for the capital expenditure. And this capital expenditure also include new weapons systems such as fighter aircraft, ships, submarines, unmanned aerial vehicles. So these all are related to the defense, and in any manner, directly or indirectly, they are included in a defense sector. And if we'll talk about that, another 14.82% is allocated to revenue expenditure regarding the operational readiness. So this has also a share of this defense sector. Now we'll come to the how does it measure up against China. It's very, as I have already told you, that we should know about that how other countries are planning in terms of defense sector, in terms of equipments, in terms of weapons. So that's why it's very important to have a data about the other countries, and especially the countries of you which you have a threat. We have a threat from China, we have a threat from Pakistan, and there was always a situation of indirect threat. So in this situation, for the external security, for the internal security, we must have idea about their outlays. So New Delhi defense allocation is less than 1/3 of what Beijing is spending. So we are very much less when it comes to China and us. And then according to the state-owned Global Times, China spent around $224 billion on defense in 2023. So last year they had spent around $224 billion, and it usually allots 2% of its GDP. So they have a huge GDP, they have a huge budget allocation. So we have around 14% to the defense sector, but they have only 2%. Still their number is much higher than ours. The amount is much higher than us. China is in 2024 officially hiked its spending defense to $231 billion across the world, and China and US are across the world. China and US are the largest country who are spending a lot on the defense expenditure, and after that we have Russia, and India has got the 4th position. So this is about that which countries spend how much. So China, USA spent a lot, then after that we have Russia, and 4th is on India. So India is also spending a reasonable amount on defense sector, and this particular data has been given by the CIPRI report, and according to that data we are saying, and we had ranked the countries. So this is about thing. Now we'll come to the next one. Next one is about the practice question for prelims. But before practice question for prelims, we must know that there are experts who are saying that, you know, whatever the China is saying about their defense expenditure, it is very much less. They spend a lot, whatever they have expected, whatever they have projected. So there is an indirect expenditure in defense sector. And one of the professors from Jawaharlal Nehru University has said that if we'll talk about the China's spending on the defense sector, it is around $710. So what we have seen that $710 billion they are spending this much on the China, what you can say, expenditure in defense. So if we talk about India, so we are $75 and they are around $710 billion. So this makes a huge difference between us and them. And also there is always a matter of worry and matter of concern that we have increased our prices in terms of defense sector, and we are also modernizing it. But still there are countries who can be threat to you. They have modernized their weapon system a lot, their defense system a lot. So there is an urgent need for India to modernize its defense sector, different kind of equipments we need. And we also need trained officials, army officials, defense official to operate any kind of unforeseen circumstances. So out of all this discussion, what we have derived that we had increased our spending on defense sector, and also it must be noted that there should be modernization of the defense sector, and we must be careful and watchful about other countries that how much they are spending. So now we'll come to the question part. The question is, what percentage of the total budget does the defense allocation represent for the financial year 2024 and 5? And we already have this answer: 10.5%, 12.9%, 15.2% and 8.3%. So you have to answer this into the comment section, and you have to also analyze this particular thing from all the perspective. You don't have to remember the data that how much, but if you remember, it will be beneficial for you if you'll write the mains examination. So if you'll quote any kind of the data, so that will be a plus point to you, and it will be also important for your IR perspective, because you can write your answer like this, that what government is spending led to threat to internal security, or is it boost the internal security or external security, and do we need such kind of spending on defense sector? Don't we think that we have to spend this amount on other things? So there are lots of debates around it. So you have to find out that what are the debates around it and how to manage your answer according to this debate. So that's it for today's session. I hope you like this session. If you have any queries related to this session, kindly ask in the comment section. Have a nice day. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.